She's the one everyone counts on. She leads the team, she hits the target, she shows up early and stays late. She remembers everyone's birthday, covers for the colleagues when they're sick, and delivers the kind of results that make her look from the outside like she has got it all together. She earns well, and she's built something. She is, by every measurable standard the world hands on women, a success. And she's absolutely quietly running herself into the ground. She doesn't talk about the 3 a.m. wake-ups where her mind won't stop. She doesn't mention the brain fog that descends by 2 in the afternoon and makes every single decision feel like wading through wet concrete. She doesn't talk about topping herself up with caffeine to get through. She doesn't tell anyone that she's cried in the car before walking into the office last Tuesday. She doesn't let on that the body she has pushed and ignored and demanded so much of for so long is starting loudly and insistently to say no. And yet she keeps pushing harder. And because stopping in her world doesn't feel like an option, she'd feel like a failure. I know her. I was her. I've sat with hundreds of versions of her through the years as a naturopath, and she's probably someone you recognize, and she may even be you. The most dangerous kind of burnout is the kind that still shows up to work looking capable. So here's what I want you to understand, and this didn't happen by accident. This is a blueprint, and it was written long before you arrived. Corporate culture, particularly the high performance, high expectation environments where so many women in midlife have built their careers, was not designed for the female body in mind. It was not designed with the hormonal reality of perimenopause in mind. It was not designed with the emotional labor women carry visibly on top of every deliverable and deadline every single day. It was designed for a particular kind of output. Linear, relentless, measurable. And it's rewarded women who could perform that output at the cost of everything that makes them human. We were handed a blueprint that said, produce to prove your worth, be available to be valued, shrink your needs to fit the structure. And we were so brilliant and so capable and so determined to succeed that we did exactly that for decades. We've learned to override fatigue. We've learned to push through pain. We've learned to schedule our own health appointments around everyone else's meetings and cancel them when things get busy. We've learned to treat our bodies like machines that existed to serve our ambition or someone else's bottom line. And now we're here in our 40s and 50s. And the machine is starting to malfunction. And not because we're failing, because the blueprint was flawed right from the start. You did not burn out because you weren't strong enough. You burned out because the structure demanded more than any body was built to give. And when the body stops accepting the override, everything can change. I want to talk about what happens in the body because this is the part that corporate culture absolutely does not prepare you for. Perimenopause isn't just a hormonal event. It's a whole body recalibration, and it's meant to happen. And for the women who've been running on cortisol and willpower and caffeine for 15, 20 years, it arrives like a reckoning. The estrogen and progesterone that were quietly helping your nervous system regulate, your sleep deepen, your mood stabilize, they begin to shift, and they're meant to. And for women already operating in chronic stress, already carrying an invisible load, the effect's not subtle. Suddenly sleep, which was already hard to come by, becomes fractured or absent. The resilience you could always count on, the ability to recover quickly and bounce back, starts to thin. Anxiety that never used to be an issue moves in like an unwanted flatmate. You know what they're like. The emotional bandwidth that allowed you to lead teams, manage relationships, and stay composed under pressure starts to narrow. Our window of tolerance goes to nothing. And the response in most workplaces? Silence. Or worse, pathologizing. They stick you in a box. She seems emotional lately. She's not coping as well. Maybe she's not the right fit for this role anymore. Maybe she's getting too old. What's happening is not a leadership failure. It's a biological event being experienced in a structure that was never built to support it. And it's happening inside a body that's been asking for help for years, and you're soldiering on and being told repeatedly, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, has left you where you are. We only experience crappy health at this time in our life if we arrive here adrenally tired, adrenally burned out. The body finally says no. It's the most intelligent, most productive thing it's ever done. It's telling you, stop. The symptoms, the fatigue, the brain fog, the weight changes, the anxiety, the loss of drive that once felt limitless, they're not signs of decline. They are your body speaking to you. They are a direct communication. The body is presenting, it's like a bill at the bank. Your adrenal glands are like a bank account where you're meant to spend a bit of energy every day and put it back in, and spend it and put it back in. You've been running on an overdraft, so overdrawn, it's ridiculous. The symptoms are showing you the cost of that. And the bill has to be paid. And I know, because that's where I was. When I was working in the pharmacy industry back in corporate in the 80s, I did this. I get it. And it makes me sad to see nearly 40 years on women still doing the same shit I did back then. Your body's not breaking down, it's breaking through, and it's demanding you to live in a different way. It has to get listened to. So for most of the women that I mentor and I work with, burnout isn't just physical, it's existential. When your identity has been built around output, which is a reality in the corporate world, when your sense of worth, your self-respect, and your place in the world has been constructed from your performance and your productivity, what happens when you can no longer perform the way you used to? Who are you when the output drops? This is a question that breaks women open, not the fatigue. Yeah, the fatigue kind of exacerbates it, but the emotion is what's sitting behind it. The identity crisis underneath. Who am I meant to be now? Kids don't need me. Let's like tick, tick, tick. I've got this and this and this, but I don't feel like myself. I don't feel needed. It's like high achieving women in midlife. They don't just fear losing their job or their status. They fear losing themselves. They have given everything to the kids, and I get it. Everything to the family, everything to work. The self they built, the self that was valued, the self that knew exactly what she was for, fit in a box. Tick, tick, tick. I've sat with women mentoring them who were genuinely terrified to slow down. And not because they love the pace, but because stopping meant confronting a question they didn't know how to answer. And that's, if I'm not this, who am I? I think of it, it's like you've got a coat cupboard. All your clothes are in the clothes rack, and this is you, the new you, this 40, 50, 60-year-old woman. It's like you've got this new coat, and you're trying to fit it in the wardrobe, and you're pushing and pushing and pushing, and it can't. The wardrobe is full. It's full of all your old ways of being, all this old stuff you've been doing, and it's just like, it's there, and you can't get the new in you. It's calling your body. The time of the wise woman is calling you so big and so badly, and it's trying to come in, but the cupboard's so full of everything else. And so you just keep going, just keep pushing. Overriding fatigue, keep going the same way, just keep pushing more. Minimizing your symptoms. Performing well, still showing up while you're still running on empty. Telling yourself that you just need to get through this quarter, this project, this restructure, and then I'll rest. Oh my gosh, how many times have you said that? You're gone on holidays, day one, you get a cold. Your body says, you've stopped, I'm going to really stop you now. The quarter ends, the project delivers, the restructure completes, and the next project thing arrives. And then the next. And they're on that perpetual loop. The real issue was never the workload. The real issue is that rest, recovery, and self-prioritization were never made part of that identity. They were always seen as the reward, the thing that would happen once you got everything done. I was raised thinking, Dad used to say it to us, you rest when everything's done, Jen. Well, everything's not done. It took me burning out to learn that. I was a perfectionist. I was the one who just kept going at a ridiculous pace until my body stopped me. Are you still waiting to have everything done on your list? The women most at risk of midlife burnout are not the ones who don't care. They're the ones who care so deeply they forgot to include themselves in what they're caring for. It's like the corporate world's cannibalized us. And cannibalized is a big word. I get it. And I choose it very deliberately. Because what corporate culture does to high-performing women over that long arc of a career, it's not a slow fade. It's a consumption. And it takes the best of you, your drive, your intelligence, your relational capacity, your creative energy, your health, and it uses those resources to produce outcomes that serve the structure. And when the resource is depleted, when the well runs dry and you fall over, that structure doesn't ask what it owes you. It asks, what's wrong with you? That's cannibalization. And it happens with the full cooperation of the woman inside the system because she was taught that this is what success looks like. So what comes after? It's not another retreat. It's not rewirement. And it's not giving up the ambition or the career or the drive because that has never been who these women are. And it's not who they need to become. What comes after is a renegotiation. A renegotiation with the body. Meeting it where it is, supporting it with what it actually needs, understanding that the nervous system and the hormonal landscape and the whole body wisdom available at midlife are not obstacles. They're the foundation to a different, more sustainable and powerful kind of life. A renegotiation with your identity, separating who you are from what you produce. Building a self that's not contingent on output. Reclaiming the parts of you that were filed away as irrelevant because they didn't serve the bottom line. And a renegotiation with time. This was huge for me. Understanding that recovery is not laziness. Resting shouldn't carry guilt. The rest is not weakness. That regulated nervous system is not a luxury, but a biological prerequisite for every single thing you want to build and do in the second half of your life. The women I work with and watch transform in middle life are not the ones who finally slow down enough to disappear. They're the ones who choose, often for the first time, to direct their extraordinary capacity towards a life that is actually built for them, not the life the blueprint prescribed. Their own. The second half of your life doesn't have to be built on the same blueprint that you burned out on the first. You get to be the architect now. What are you going to build?